Baker Mayfield underrated?
Absolutely. Baker Mayfield is underrated. Now, Baker Mayfield's not underrated by his peers who did their due diligence. He was in the NFL's top 100. Baker Mayfield is not underrated by marketing agencies and by endorsers. We know how many commercials that he is in. But Baker Mayfield is drastically underrated by the media, and I would argue Baker Mayfield is the most underrated player in the National Football League. Here is why.
Let's go.
When you look at any company, corporation, or leader, you always have to look at wins or improvement above replacement.
Okay.
If a CEO gets replaced, let me look at what the new CEO and how the new CEO improved the bottom line. If a television host gets replaced, how did the new host improve television ratings? If a quarterback gets replaced, how did the quarterback improve the win column? Baker Mayfield took a Cleveland Browns team that was 0-16 and a Cleveland Browns team that was 1-15. And within 3 years, he had double-digit wins.
Wow.
That is a greater improvement, if you all will, than what Josh Allen did in Buffalo because the Bills made the playoffs in 2017, what Lamar Jackson did in Baltimore because the Ravens made the playoffs in 2014, won a Super Bowl in 2012. What Patrick Mahomes did in Kansas City because the Chiefs made the playoffs 4 of the previous 5 years before Patrick Mahomes showed up. So what Baker Mayfield has done in Cleveland is a greater improvement than what Patrick Mahomes has done, what Josh Allen has done, and what Lamar Jackson has done. Yet we talk about Baker Mayfield as if he is a slouch. Baker Mayfield is underrated, and he might be the most underrated player in the game.
Okay, if they give out, like, plaques for this, would you put it up? Like, all underrated team? Be real, if they gave it to you. For real. Like, this is a weird one.
No.
You wouldn't, right? Right? It's weird. I remember I made the all-Iron Man team or something, Phil Simms, something like that, and that was a compliment. But this one's, like, a little off the boulevard a little bit to me. So let's talk about, is Baker Mayfield underrated? No. He's accurately rated. He's perfectly rated. He's the balloon you let go and you just want to see where it lands because you don't know. Everything that's good about Baker, you could counter with something that's bad about Baker. He's Captain Inconsistent so far. And that's why he's perfectly rated as probably, as you want to say, underrated. But to me, that's what you're rated, when you're inconsistent. Here's the thing about him. Last year, he was a winner, but he wasn't the driving force. Baker Mayfield, you had a good year last year. Have you had 2 consecutive good years? No. Oh, okay. All right, what about the consolation prize, the Josh Allen Award, which is every year you're improving at least? Oh, no, not that either. Let that balloon go. Let's just see where it's going to land. That's where Baker Mayfield stands with me. I love articles like this because you know I love me some Pro Football Focus. Good Lord. Got me into an argument with Jalen Ramsey one time on Twitter because he was like, well, they don't know what they talk about. I think they do. All right, so let's take them for their word. That Kevin Stefanski and Baker Mayfield were, quote, clicking on all cylinders last year. You believe that? I don't. Because Baker Mayfield last year ranked 30th in NFL completion percentage. Is that clicking on all cylinders? You know Gardner Minshew was better than that. Oh, what about this? He was 24th in passing yards per game. Is that clicking on all cylinders? Sound like right where he's perfectly rated, not underrated. We're perfectly rated. 4th fewest among all quarterbacks in terms of passing attempts, not the driving force. Is he underrated? Nah, sounds like he's perfectly rated. How about Baker Mayfield, who went 25 games in a row without back-to-back 250-yard passing efforts? Went 25 games. That's over a season. No back-to-back 250s? Oh, is he underrated? Nah. There's a reason why he won't put it up on his mantle as well. It's because he doesn't respect what they're even given, let alone respect that he is so-called underrated. Mic drop. Can I get that mic drop?
Can you pick the mic back up now, please?
I will.
Baker Mayfield, Baker Mayfield. I was having this conversation the other day, not about Baker Mayfield, just about life.
Oh, let's go.
And I started talking about Albert Einstein and his theory of relativity and all these other things that are far wiser than
Not the fish on the tree again.
No, not that one.
Okay, good.
But as you brought up Baker Mayfield not being the driving force, I thought about Baker Mayfield like gravity. Gravity is not necessarily the driving force of you and I's existence as we currently navigate life. At least we don't acknowledge it as such. But imagine a world without gravity. You wouldn't be tethered to the seat. You wouldn't be able to just walk freely because while gravity might not be the driving force, you want to know what happens when you ain't got gravity? Life as you know it ceases to exist in the quality that you know it. You want to know what happens to the Browns when they don't have Baker? Life as they know it ceases to exist, at least at the quality they know it. Because the Browns without Baker, as I told you all, and we have the full screen if we show it. If not, I'm going to talk through it. They were 1-31 over a 2-year stretch. We have seen teams go from winless to double-digit victories. We've seen that before. The Detroit Lions, they did that in 3 seasons. I think that's the Bucs' old uniform.
Where you at?
The Bucs, they did that within 3 seasons.
Yeah, old school.
10-6.
Yep.
But the Browns, Sel, are the only franchise in organizational history to have 1 win over a 2-year stretch and then have double-digit wins. So Baker Mayfield, he might not be the driving force, at least not to our eyes. But Baker Mayfield is something like gravity, Sel, because without gravity, we wouldn't like life's existence. And without Baker Mayfield, the Browns know what it's like. They hated life's existence.
Okay, let's have fun with this since you want to keep talking. Sometimes you just look over and you're like, oh, he's still going to say something? Okay. So let's talk about this driving force of gravity. Life would be different. I know it's the driving force because of our demise and our age and how we wear and how we get older is because of gravity. Like, imagine if there was no gravity. We'd live forever. Because we wouldn't just age. We wouldn't. You know that always, I love this. I don't know. When did you have this conversation? Recently?
2 weeks ago.
A couple weeks ago? Yeah. Sound like you had it on 420. Anyway, here we go. This conversation you had, you were getting older in a different way. Gravitational force is always pulling on you. It's tethering us, and that's great, but it comes at a cost. And let's talk about the cost of Baker Mayfield 420 style. How many Pro Bowls, Mr. Underrated? Since you underrated, you did something great. You ain't never been voted. How many winning seasons? Oh, let me take one of the S's off. Winning season. 1. Underrated? How many playoff appearances? Take that S off at the end. A playoff appearance. Come on, man. What's your record? Okay, here we go. 23-22. That's damn near 500, bro. Underrated. And it's funny, you bring up wins above replacement. If you bring in another quarterback like Baker Mayfield and he changes everything in your fortunes, you got to give him all the credit. But just a couple blocks ago, I talked about how Deshaun Watson has the same record as who? Matt Schaub, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Hoyer, and Brock Osweiler, and you didn't want to give that any credit. Why give it credit now? You got caught there. Let's talk about Baker Mayfield, who has thrown 44 interceptions in the last 3 years. I wonder how many players have thrown more. Oh, none. Underrated. Yeah, man, stop. 6-14 against teams that finish with a winning record in your career. You can't even beat the winners. Stop it. Look, there's a reason it's not on your mantle, underrated plaque. There's a reason why he's not going to accept this as well. Or maybe he should because it's properly rated.
So I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is without flaw.
Oh, okay.
I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is without air. I'm not saying that Baker Mayfield is perfect. But what I am saying is that you do not give enough credence nor credit to Baker Mayfield for what he has done and deserves. So, the Ravens won the Super Bowl in 2012. The Bills went to 4 straight in the early 90s. The Chiefs went to 4 out of 5 years. They went to the playoffs before Mahomes showed up. The Browns still hadn't been to the playoffs since 2002. Hadn't won a playoff game since the Bills were on the heels of their 4 consecutive Super Bowl stretch. And Baker has taken his team to the same heights as Josh Allen, has taken his team to the same heights as Lamar Jackson, has taken his team to the same heights as even Dak Prescott, if you will, as far as getting to the playoffs and winning a playoff game. So we respect Josh Allen, and we should. He's bald. We respect Lamar Jackson. We should. Unanimous MVP. We respect Dak Prescott. We should. He had an MVP vote back in the day his rookie year. But Baker Mayfield, you scoff at. I don't get it.
I get it.
Because nobody else
I can answer it.
in the last 25 years has done anything remotely close to what Baker Mayfield has done in Cleveland.
I'm going to answer it for real. All right. Let me do this for real. I think one of my superpowers as a broadcaster analyst is the fact that I was good and bad in the NFL. I touched all 4 corners of the room. That helps me. Now, I know that they want to cherry pick only the good ones, the Hall of Famers. But the problem is they ain't got perspective like me. Like, when you the man on the team like I was, man, it's a different world. It's a different ecosystem. It's a different atmosphere than when you ain't the man. but I've been both. So let me tell you about my perspective. When I was good, I never heard things like this about me. No Pro Bowls. 30th in the league. Like when you good, you don't hear 30th. You'll hear double digits. And he does. So when I was bad, I heard that. And I was like, okay, so I'm just appropriately calling it like I see it. Baker Mayfield has a chance this year to be a top 10 quarterback if he becomes more of the driving force for this team. I'm rooting for him. Alex Van Pelt, his offensive coordinator, that's my old teammate. Love for them. Love for Baker Mayfield. But because I was good and bad, I got to call it like I see it.